So welcome everyone. Welcome to Physics by RN. Many of you might have heard this word first time. What is Physics by RN? So let me refresh you, or let me tell you, introduce myself to you. I am RN Mehra. So not much I have done, but I have done my masters in physics from IIT Delhi. I am basically a physics lover, and I am passionately a teacher. So after my masters in degree from IIT Delhi, I joined my PhD degree in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So I did my PhD for 8 months, and I set up the new lab there. And I have an experience of setting up a lab from very scrap. And I have one research paper in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So after 8 months, I realized that, okay, my calling is in teaching. Then I quit everything and I joined teaching full time. I was handling physics bar from last 3 years, but this year I joined it full time. And now I am also teaching JEE and NEET aspirants as well. So I'm a JEE advanced faculty also. So on daily basis, I'm teaching 7 years of physics, starting from class 11th till masters in physics. So I'm doing my teaching full time now, and I have qualified almost all the examinations involving IIT JAM, CSIR NET, JRF, JEST, and one very good thing is almost 25 students are in IIT from physics by RN. Okay, so that is our achievement, more than my achievement. That's an institute's achievement. Okay, so now the idea is that CSIR NET examination. So when you entered the session, you saw the line that if you qualify CSIR NET exam, you will qualify India's most prestigious examination. And that is true. India's not most prestigious in terms of physics. So if you tell me that what is a one examination, right? If you ask me that what is a one examination which is most prestigious for physics, and if you qualify that, and I can say that you know physics at a very good level, that examination will be CSIR NET. Okay, good. So if you want to have such a dream that, okay, I want to qualify that examination, then you have to understand that what is this entire CSIR NET examination, right? So let's do that. Let's understand that what is this CSIR NET examination. Okay, I am assuming that you know almost nothing about the CSIR NET examination, and you need the knowledge of almost everything. So I'm starting from a very basic point. CSIR NET examination is going to have 3 sections. Everyone knows that. If you don't know that, let's recap that. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, named as A, B, C. Now, A section is general aptitude, which basically contains basic reasoning, shapes, relations. If this is uncle of this, then this is an uncle of that. What is the relation between them? Blood relations, basic probability, GP AP series, basic simple sort of basic things you see around, basic reasoning, sets, all those things that you know as a general aptitude kind of things they ask in that. Basic English also they ask. So basically this is basically part A, which is going to have a general aptitude. Now then comes a part B. Part B is going to have a very fundamental physics, core subjects of physics. So there are 6 core subjects of physics, and they are going to ask from those 6 core subjects. And these 6 core subjects are common to all the examinations. GATE, JEST, JAM, almost TIFR, NET. In all the examination, these 6 core subjects you will definitely see. Okay. And then comes the third, which is basically advanced physics. Advanced physics is something which is very, very special to CSIR NET, and it is almost 50% of your examination. And that is what it makes India's most prestigious examination in terms of physics. And the reason being because this involves a very good quality of questions, and also the syllabus is from the 9 subjects, which covers almost all the branches of physics uniformly. So if you are good in part C of the syllabus, then you can say that you are overall all-rounder in your physics syllabus. Fine. I always say that CSIR NET examination is not an examination of doing the questions. It is an examination of leaving the questions at the right appropriate time and only attempting those which you could actually solve. And why I can say that? Because the pattern suggests us. If you look at the CSIR NET pattern, they are going to ask you 75 questions in an examination. So when you enter into an exam hall, you are sitting there, you are all prepared, they are going to throw 75 questions at you. but you only have to solve 55 out of them. So 55 questions to be done, 75 questions will be there. How will this happen? So in part A, they will send you 20 questions. So they will say, these are the 20 questions, do any 15. So do any 15 and each question will give you 2 marks. So if you do 15 questions, you get 30 marks. If you do more than 15, they will only check 50. First 15 they will check, and if you do more than 15, first 15 will get checked. So out of 20, you only have to attempt 15 and each will give you 2 marks. Total 30 marks you will get from this section. If you do any question wrong, then there is a 25% of negative marking. So 0.5 marks will go. All the questions are MCQ, single correct question. So you only have 4 options and out of them, only 1 is correct. So all 75 questions will have like that. Then comes the part B, which is core physics. In that, they are going to send you 25 questions. Okay, this is the 25 questions of this year. So do it. You don't have to do all of them. You just have to do 20 of them. Each question will give you 3.5 marks. So if you do 3.5 marks into 20 questions, you are going to get 70 marks. Sorry, not 75, 70 marks for this section. So you can easily do a calculation. 20 into 3.5 gives you 70. So you are going to get 70 marks out of this section. So 30 plus 70 is 100. So part A and part B gave you 100 marks. Remember, there is a negative marking of 25%. So if it is 3.5 mark question, then negative marking will be minus 0.875. So total marks is 200. Out of that, 100 marks is coming from part A and part B. Then comes the core section of this, or you can say the pehchan, the identity of CSIR NET exam. That is his part C. Okay, whenever the new exam come, I start looking at the CSIR NET exam from the part C, because when you see the part C, you enjoy. Your physics student enjoys that. Okay, oh wow, how they are designing such questions, right? No matter how much experience you have, even if you ask the very senior faculties, and when you give them the paper of CSIR NET part C, they are also like, oh wow, what a new questions, what a brilliant questions they have put on, right? So that is that's an identity of this examination. Then comes your part C, which is known as advanced physics. In advanced physics, they give you a lot of flexibility. They will give you 30 questions and they will say, just attempt 20. You can attempt any 20. So 20 questions you have to attempt. Each question will give you 5 marks. 5 marks. And if you do 20 questions, 5 marks each, which means 100 marks. So 100 marks from part A and part B and 100 marks alone from part C. So total you will get 200 marks. So total paper was 277.5 marks, but you only have to attempt 200 marks. And out of those 200 marks, your cutoff will be decided. So this is the pattern of the examination. So basically when you go, you have a mountain of 277. You have to just climb 200. And out of those 200, cutoff will be decided. So 55 questions will give you 200 marks. Based on that, your career, your future will be decided. Now, if you talk about the last few years of cutoff, that how much, so because you don't have to be a champion of this examination, you just have to beat your competition. That's one idea you have to understand. The person who do not understand this can never do good in any competitive exam. If you want to do good in competitive exam, one thing you have to understand, you have to beat the competition, not to become the champion of any examination. You are not a class 11, 12 student who has a very high ego. When you talk about the class 11, 12, no, I will just become the champion of JEE. I will become the champion of NEET. No. We have to be grounded. We just have to beat our competition. And what is required to beat the competition? So the JRF qualification was 80 marks, 100 marks, 76 marks, 92 marks. You can see these cutoff marks for unreserved categories. Now, CSIR NET has 2 kind of cutoffs. One is for lecturership and one is for JRF. Lecturership means they will not give you any money, but you are qualified for lifetime, that you can teach in any college. Let's say you want to teach in government college. Punjab says that this year I am going to bring the vacancies of 200 new teachers. And I want physics teachers to come and join in various colleges of Punjab. Who is basically eligible for this? Two people are eligible. One, who have PhD degrees. They might be exempted from NET. And second kind of people who have just master's degree. If you have just master's degree and still you want to teach in government colleges and become the teacher of government colleges of any government, you need to qualify CSIR NET lecturership at least. Okay. So if you qualify lecturership, then your lifetime, that whenever vacancy come, you can apply. You are now eligible. Once you qualify, you are eligible for life. So that cutoff is less. So if you just want to qualify lecturership, that cutoff is less. So roughly you can see it was 71 last year. Before that it was 90, then it was 70, then it was 82. So it's a very fluctuating cutoff, not a very fixed one. But you can clearly see it never went more than 100. So out of 200, it was never even 100. From the last 4 papers, it never touched even 100. Maximum was 90 out of 200. Okay. But what is JRF then? It is known as Junior Research Fellow. Now, let's say you want to do both. You want to keep both the options open. That, okay, if the vacancies come, I want to join as a teacher. Okay. One. Second is that I also want to do PhD. Second. In this case, government will give you money that if you join PhD at any institute, any ISIR, iisc, your local college, any college, government will pay you. Now it is 37,000 rupees per month. It is not, am I not audible, everyone? Just a recheck. Am I audible, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Good, good, great, thank you. So government is giving you 37,000 to get admitted in PhD degree. So if you are doing your PhD degree, government is sending you. And also CSIR NET exam is used to design the cutoffs of various institutes. For example, if iisc, the India's top institute, has to choose PhD students, which exam they will use to decide that whom should we select. So they will use JEST exam, they will use CSIR NET exam. Okay. So you have to basically qualify this exam with the top rank if you want to get selected in the top institutions of India. But once you qualify this exam with JRF, it's sure that no matter where you do your PhD, you are going to get money from the government. Okay. Not just money, other parameters as well. You can also apply for the lecturership positions whenever they open. So both the options are open. Okay. So basically we understand that total is 200 marks. Max to max cutoff is 100 for JRF. So it's not a game of more than 50%. So if I score more than 50% in this, it's definitely secure that I will qualify JRF. Even if the paper is very easy and the cutoff is very high, even in that situation, it is not going to go more than 100, 105. That's it. So the target is 50%. I would say it is 50%. I am not using the word just 50%. Because when you enter into the game of CSIR NET, then you realize that this 50% is not easy, my friend. This is not easy. That is why this is the exam which is going to be India's most prestigious for physics. It's not like they are going to put direct questions to you and they will say just solve it, enjoy, and just score more than 50%. It's not JAM, it's not just, it's not GATE, it's CSIR NET. And when you go to the CSIR NET examination, when you go to give this examination, you will see that there are many people who are much more older than you, 30 years of age, 28, 27. Why? Because they are doing their PhD, but also they are trying for this examination on parallel. So people take multiple attempts for this examination. However, in a JAM examination, you won't see something like that. You go to an examination, almost all the students are of the same age, almost. But in CSIR NET, you will see that there is no fixed age. You will see people of multiple age groups. Okay. So that is one thing. So this was, now I'm going to just open up this examination. And I will just present this examination in front of you that this is how you can prepare. No course purchasing, I'm going to tell you that purchase this, no. That is in the end. But before that, I'm going to tell you that this is how we will dissect the CSIR NET exam. Okay. So number one, part A. Part A is general aptitude. And what is your goal? First of all, we should know the goal of part A. That what in an examination, with what mindset I have to go in an examination. It's not like, yeah, today you woke up, you had your prantha and dahi, and then you went to an examination, you sat down there and then say, lao bhai, CSIR NET exam lao, main dunga. It's not like that. You have to go with the proper planning. And you have to practice that planning multiple times in mock test before entering the hall. And what is the goal you have to achieve? 24 marks in 30 minutes. So you can see here, first part A is going to give you 30 marks and you just have to score 24 marks, not just, but 24 marks in first 30 minutes. You have to practice this again and again and again. And if you can do that, first battle is won. You won your first battle. There are 3 battles. First battle is won. And what are the steps to achieve this? How you can achieve this? What is the secure method that if you do this, you will definitely achieve? 4 steps. Number 1, solve each and every PYQ which is available. Let's say last 10 years of paper is available. Do all the questions. I'm not saying that, okay, do particular type of questions, all the questions. Whatever PYQ is available, once it is done, then only think about anything else. A person who can comes and tell me, okay, sir, I am done with all the PYQs of general aptitude, only then I give an additional assignment to that person. First thing is that. Then when you're doing those questions, divide those questions into categories. Do not ask anyone else to categorize it. Categorize yourself. That when you are doing the questions, you categorize them. Okay, these are the questions which came from the blood relations. These are the questions which came from the trigonometry. These are the questions which came from the series. These are the questions which came from the basic questions, English questions, right? So categorize them. And then you identify that which kind of category questions I'm not able to solve. For example, someone is not able to solve the trigonometry. It means his 10th class trigonometry is weak. You remember we used to prove the theorems. Remember everyone, 10th class. If you remember, just let me know in comments, in the chat, that you remember those 10th class questions, NCERT book theorems we used to prove. They ask that questions. So it means if you're not able to solve it, you have to go there and practice them. Only when you will categorize yourself into that categories, that these are the questions coming, you will realize that which is your weak strength. In general, people come and say, student come, I have a weak general aptitude. No, something in that is weak for you. You just have to work on that. Because general aptitude is such a big thing. If you start studying, you can do entire competitive exam, for example, banking exams and all of these. You will enter into that regime and you want to avoid that. And the only way to avoid that is to know that which category of question is weak for you. Okay. Then learn that topic from online. There are many banking exam videos and so on. You can learn any general aptitude topic completely free these days. Okay. 4th, give the full test. Whenever you are giving the full test or any test, for example, which is of 3 hours, always make sure that that test also contains part A. That test does not only contains physics, but also contains part A, so that you actually know that how to jump from part A to physics. That's all. Do not give any particular general aptitude practice tests, because that is not your requirement. Your requirement in an exam is do general aptitude in 30 minutes and jump to physics. You have to practice this. So when you are doing the full test, make sure that that test has the part A section. 4 steps, guaranteed 24 plus will come. Nothing else is required. Not even a single more thing is required to ensure that you do not get 24 plus. One more thing, your brain should be active. That's it. Okay. So part A is much easy to do. You can do it in a regular steps. Main idea is part B. Now, in part B, you are going to get a core physics, which I call it as a basic physics as well. Basic for you, because you are now a MSc student. So this physics should be basic physics for you. So what is the goal in this? So total 70 marks is there in part B. You just have to do, not just, again, sorry for this just word, You have to score 50 plus marks, and basically in 1 hour, 50 plus marks in just 1 hour. How is it possible? Let me tell you. What are our targets for this section? There are going to be 25 questions. You just have to do 15. 25 questions, 15. From the fundamental physics, 25 questions are coming. You have to solve 15 at least. At least, because if you are at a CSIR NET C level, you can easily do this level questions easily. But if you're not at that level, then you cannot even do these questions very easily. So 15 questions out of 25 is our target for this section. You don't have to do any negative marking. Negative marking is there in an exam, but you have to avoid it. Almost zero negative marking. And you will have to do each question in at least 3 minutes. That's it. 3 minutes for each question, which is easily doable. Anyone who has done part B questions knows that these questions can be done in 3 minutes or less than that. Okay. So you have 1 hour for part B, and you have to score 50 plus marks. So now where are we sitting? 24 in part A and 50, or I would say 46, let's say. We just scored our 46. So 46 plus 24 makes 70 marks. Still, we need 30 to 40 more marks to gain our cutoff, to go much beyond our cutoff. Okay. But in part B, what are the steps to become very good in part B? Okay. If you ask me in summary that what should I do that my part B is very good? Number one, solve each and every PYQ which is available. Again, the same thing, but not just for NET, but also for GATE. Because GATE questions are directly being repeated in NET examination. And you can just go and look at it. Many GATE questions are directly asked in NET, part B section. So for both GATE and NET, it becomes very important that you do each and every PYQ which is available. Don't even leave a single PYQ. Then second, complete the entire syllabus. In part B section, there should not be even a single topic which you have not covered. Each and every line of the syllabus. If I ask you, if I call you, okay, hello, I am RN speaking. Can you send me the notes for probability, or can you send me the notes for Lagrangian mechanics? So you will say, yes, why not, sir? I am sending you the notes. Okay, can you send me the PYQ solutions of this? So you will say, yes, sir, I am sending you. So this kind of level of preparation is needed. That where for each line of the syllabus, you have notes ready, you have prepared that topic. Okay. Third, now entire syllabus means what is the syllabus? I'm going to cover that in next slide, that what is the syllabus of part and how to cover that if you want to cover that syllabus. Third, if you're joining coaching, if you're not joining coaching, any coaching or wherever you are going, coaching is always helpful, but you always have to remember one thing: basic books must have been covered very well for this topic. Because for part B, if you're not covering the basic books, then what are you doing? Then what are you studying? Because whoever is teaching you is definitely have read those books and then concluding those books and giving you. But you also have to read those books, at least to some level. Okay, so usually in my batch, what I say, or whenever a student comes to me that, okay, sir, I watch your lecture, but still I'm not good with this. Then I said that go and read this chapter of the book. Don't read the entire book, but read this chapter. Then when the student reads that book, then he has more understanding of my lecture, even better understanding. Or when a student read that book after my lecture, then they say, okay, then now we are able to understand the book. What is it? What they were saying. So these two things should go in parallel: lecture watching and book reading. Because lectures will help you to understand book better, and book will help you to go in the deep of this lecture, that what my teacher was actually trying to say. You cannot do one and avoid other, and do other and avoid first. Both are parallel. Okay. Then book reading must be complemented with competitive skills of solving problems. Okay, you know the formula, but if I give you the question, you do not know how to apply it. You do not know that even if you do not know the formula, how can you play with the options? If you know the formula, how you can put a values in the options and come to an answer. So these are the competitive skills of problem solving. Many people lack here. Okay, they have the concept. They know what is de Broglie hypothesis. But when the question comes, they are not able to solve that. They know what is infinite potential well, but when the question comes, they do not able to solve. So problem solving has to be added along with the book reading and proper self-made notes. I stress this point that for each line of the syllabus, you should have the notes ready for you. I can ask you anytime that please give me the notes for this. You should have those notes ready if you're going to give this exam. And I say that always, I say that when you are already have the gate PYQs, when you already have the net PYQs, you already have more than 2000 problems. Students say that, sir, okay, PYQs are fine. That what about assignments? First, you have already have 2000 problems. And then for each topic, you just have to do 20 to 30 new questions. That's it. If you're doing 50 questions, 100 questions, then you will be able to do only 10 to 20 topics of the syllabus. But if you want entire syllabus to be done, then for each topic, just 20 to 30 questions. But that should be different from PYQs. And that's it. That will actually teach you the competitive skills of solving problems, because your brain is an active thing. It's an active component. When he's solving the question, he's also learning. And when the same questions your brain see in an examination, they say, okay, this is similar to that, apply the rule. That's how your brain functions. Okay. Also, when you are reading the standard book, there are many problems in that standard book itself. So you should not hesitate to solve that. Okay, this is not MCQ, this will not come in. Maybe this is not MCQ, but this problem will teach you the steps to do the problems. So always do those questions as well. And in last, the student who do not do the regular tests, regularly testing of itself, himself or herself, they definitely fail in an examination because they are not giving themselves feedback. You are learning, but no feedback is there. And once the first feedback comes, student quits. I have seen that. Many people, students sending messages, sir, whenever I give the examination, I get a low marks. So I stopped giving quizzes. I stopped giving this. I do not give quiz because I'm fear that my marks will be less. This kind of idea is not, should be there. Okay. So you have to make sure that there is a constant feedback there. You are giving the quiz. Even if your preparation is not much there, you should give quiz. That, okay, even for the topics I know, I'm not scoring full marks. Then what's the problem? So feedback should be there. And feedback comes through the regular tests. Okay. Now let's talk about the syllabus part. Okay. And I have mentioned the book for all the syllabus. So in the part B of the syllabus, first subject is mathematical physics. Okay. In mathematical physics, this is an official syllabus which you are seeing on the top. I have divided into topic wise. So you see 9 topics. One is dimension analysis and errors, which you have to read from class 11 books. So you remember the first chapter you studied in your class 11th was dimensions and error analysis. So you have to again study that chapter. Okay. Then you have the chapters like vector algebra and vector calculus, linear algebra and matrices, differential equations, special functions, complex analysis, probability theory, Fourier series, and Fourier and Laplace transform. So these are 8 more chapters. All these 8 chapters are very nicely covered in HK Das, and you can also follow coaching notes of physics by RN, or any other. If you want to follow, you can follow that. Okay. So these 2 resources are very useful for us. Then the second subject is classical mechanics. In classical mechanics, this is an official syllabus which you can see on the top, but this syllabus divides into Newton laws, work, power, energy and collisions, rotational mechanics. These are the 3 chapters which you saw in your class 11. So again, you have to go back and read the class 11 books. Whatever book you have, maybe in your home you have Pradeep's, in your home you have SL Arora, maybe you only have NCRT, maybe you have Singage. Whatever book you have, read that book. Because read and do the questions of that book. And that book will help you in these 3 chapters. Do not underestimate these chapters. Questions are coming from these chapters. Okay. Then comes the BSc, MSc chapters. Central forces, pseudo forces, Lagrangian mechanics, Hamiltonian mechanics, phase space trajectory, small oscillations, and special theory of relativity. So these 7 chapters are from the JC Upadhyay book and coaching notes of physics by RN or any other coaching. So you can basically, these 7 chapters you can try to do. Okay. And not try, you have to do these 7 chapters very well. So this is for your mechanics syllabus. Okay. Now comes your third, which is electromagnetism. This is a little bit tricky because this is written very small, but this subject is very long. It's a large subject. In this, you have basic electronics, basic electrostatics. You know that potential, electric field, all of that. Then Laplace and Poisson equation and problems based on that. Then image problem and multipole expansion. Then electrostatics in materials, you know, polarization, dipole moments, all of that. Then basic magnetostatics, magnetic field, Ampere circuital law, Biot-Savart's law, all of that. Then dynamics of charge particles in fields, how the charge particle will move in electric field, how the charge particle will move in magnetic field, all of that. Then magnetism in matter. Magnetism in matter involves your paramagnetic material, all of those things in which magnetic materials are available. Then electromagnetic induction, Faraday law, that very famous experiments we used to do in our class 11th, 12th, right? Faraday law of that. Then Maxwell equations, then how the Maxwell summarize entire electromagnetism. Then EM waves, how the EM waves were born, what are the basics, how to write EM wave equation, what is the momentum of EM wave, what is the pressure of EM wave, intensity, etc. Then EM waves in materials, that EM waves, how EM waves react in conductors, in dielectrics, in different sort of materials, right? So these 11 chapters can be covered from two books. One is Singage class 12th book. Now do not underestimate this book, because in jest and in net I have seen direct questions coming from this book. Although this is class 12th book for JEE advanced, but many questions are directly asked, because our DJ Griffiths book has a very good theory, but it lacks the questions. Questions quality is not much in DJ Griffiths. So you have to complement your DJ Griffiths book along with the Singage. So these two books are very nice for these chapters. And then there are three more chapters, which are basically polarization, interference, and diffraction, which we call it as optics. So this is also again Singage class 12th optics book and also Subramaniam book. So Subramaniam for optics. So these two books are very useful for optics part. Okay. So this contains a lot of syllabus. So you have to cover it very well in detail of this. Then comes quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is one of the favorite subjects of all the examinations. In quantum mechanics, first of all, dual nature of matter, that all the phenomena you studied, black body, photoelectric effect, right? All many phenomena you studied. So all of those phenomena in dual nature. Then the basic knowledge of quantum mechanics. What is Schrödinger equation? What is states? What is time dependence? What is measurements? What is quantum states? All of those things, right? Then solving the Schrödinger equation for one-dimensional potentials. For example, infinite well, finite well, harmonic oscillator, Dirac delta potential, potential barrier, step potential, etc. Right. So all the one-dimensional potentials systems you have to solve your Schrödinger equation for that. You need to memorize the formulas for that. Okay. Then wave function in momentum space. How do you write in wave function in momentum space? Then Dirac notations, Ket-Bra notation. So basically in Dirac, you have three notations: Ket-Bra, matrix, and function. These three are the representations of quantum mechanics. And you have to use three representations for states, operators, and then you also have to study commutators. Okay. Then comes quantum mechanics in three dimensions. What is central potential? What is hydrogen atom problem? What are angular momentum, spin operators, angular momentum operators, all of that. Then three very advanced topics, which is time independent perturbation, time dependent perturbation, and variation. So these entire thing make up the syllabus of your part B quantum mechanics. There are basically two books, and these two books are enough for in itself along with the coaching notes, and these are DJ Griffiths and Jetley. Do not ever open any third book for quantum mechanics, because these two books are very well written and contains almost all the ideas. Okay. So this was for quantum. Then comes thermodynamics and StatMech. In entire syllabus, there are three topics of thermodynamics. Surprisingly, kinetic theory of gases is not there. Okay. So you can see there is a thermodynamic laws, thermodynamic potentials, and Maxwell relations, and also phase changes. So these 4 topics you will get from the Subramaniam book for thermodynamics. Also, you can see the class 11 notes. Also, in that notes, also you will find many new, many good quality questions from these chapters. Okay. Then, if we come into the statistical mechanics, I divide statistical mechanics into 2 parts: classical statistical mechanics and quantum statistical mechanics. Classical statistical mechanics contains microstates and macrostates, microcanonical ensemble, canonical ensemble, grand canonical ensemble. 4 chapters. And in each chapter, there are multiple systems: ideal gas, paramagnetic materials, harmonic oscillators, right? So you have to do the statistical mechanics of all these systems in different ensembles. You have to do in microcanonical, you have to do in canonical, you have to do in grand canonical. You have to understand that how to do these things. And the good book for this is Patharia and also some coaching notes. I would say Patharia is a good book, but if you go and self-study this book, not a decent book. Okay, it's very hard to understand on your own. And then comes the quantum statistical. It contains 2 things: Fermi-Dirac systems and Bose-Einstein systems. So Fermi particles and bosonic particles. So this book is very, so there is a book named as BB Laud, BBLAUD. So this book is very good book for these 2 chapters, and entire chapter is dedicated for, so for entire chapter is there on Fermi Dirac, entire chapter is there on Bose-Einstein. Okay, so these are the set of books for your statistical mechanics and thermodynamics. Then comes the last subject of part B, which is electronics. In electronics, you have semiconductor physics, for which you can basically follow 2 books: SOP Lie and Millman. Okay, and coaching notes if you have. Then comes the basic electronic kind of situation in which we have PN diodes, we have their applications. What are the applications? LED, Zener diode, rectifier, gates, how to make all these things from the diodes. Then come transistors, then come FET and JFET. Then comes response of various devices. What is a frequency response? Right? Then come op-amp and applications, operational amplifiers and all of that. So these 4 chapters can be done from VK Mehta book. That's very good written in that book, VK Mehta. Okay. Then comes digital electronics part, which involves basic digital electronics, right? What are gates, what are Boolean algebra, all of that. Then comes little bit advanced digital electronics, which involves counters, registers, comparators, flip-flops, adders, all these kind of things, right? Then come A to D conversion and D to A conversion, analog to digital and digital to analog. Then come curve fitting and data analysis. There are many methods of curve fitting. Least square fitting method is one, like linear fitting is there, Gaussian fitting is there. So those methods. And then error analysis. This we already covered in mathematical physics. It's just a repetition. So if you do error analysis there, you don't have to repeat it again. Okay. So for digital electronics, one book is there, Anand Kumar. Other than Anand Kumar, there are some coaching notes for gate electronic engineering. So if you search it out, you might find gate electronics coaching notes, which are not the physics coaching notes, but electronic engineering coaching notes. So for them, digital electronics is a big part, right? So those notes are also useful for some topics. Okay. So this was our part B. Any question for part B syllabus? Okay. Okay. Part B. So one question which comes is that following these books and PYQs would be enough. Enough, but not enough time is there to complete everything. Okay. So very smart study of these books and PYQ is required. No, it is not enough to solve PYQs. Always remember, whenever you are learning, then from that learning and taking you to the problems, that is something your brain has to do or someone else has to do, or for that purposes you go to coachings and all of that. Reading the books makes the concepts clear, but that books has to be added with the okay, someone has to be there to entire chapter, that okay, this is something you have to pick it up from this chapter and then you have to solve the problems. Okay. But if you can do it, that okay, by reading the paper, PYQs, and then you see the book, and then you see the, I can understand that what is basically the part of this chapter is coming in this my PYQ. Then you have to take a feedback of PYQs, that what concepts were being used in this book, which were being applicable in the PYQs. So that is basically the continuous feedback for your book, that what you are studying, are you able to solve the PYQs based on that? So you have to do that practice, you have to do that analysis, right? Again and again for each and every topic, right? Good. Now, what is part C? Part C is basically 50% of your syllabus, and your target should be 40 plus marks. Just 40%. 100 marks will be there, 40 plus marks you have to get in 90 minutes. 90 minutes roughly means that you almost have to do 1.5 hours for part C. Students usually do part C in 30 minutes because they spend too much time on part B. What is our target for part C? At least 8 questions to be correct out of 30. Now, I'm saying just 8. 8 is not a just. Finding 8 good quality questions in part C, which you can actually solve, is a very big challenge. And it requires a lot of preparation. After a lot of preparation, you will be able to reach the point where you can actually find 8 questions which you can actually pick from part C and do it. Okay, it's a big challenge. It's not an easy thing to find 8 out of 30. I'm not saying just 8. No, you're saying that out of 30 I can solve it. No, you cannot. Without a good preparation, you cannot, because the syllabus of part C is not easy. Okay, you should avoid negative marking, because negative marking in part C is very, very dangerous. So do only those questions which you can actually solve, and then in an exam at least give yourself 10 minutes for each part C question. Sit down, do the question in peace, but once you're done with the question, it should definitely give you 5 marks. So in a part C, what happens is you will start doing many part C questions, but you will not reach the question or reach the answer. So you also have to include that time in your strategy, that I might waste few minutes, 10 to 15 or 20 minutes on the questions which will not give me any answer, because you cannot predict in part C in advance that will this question give me an answer or not. You have to get into that question, you have to do some steps, and then you will realize that you are stuck at a position where you cannot come out. Okay, so 10 minutes at approx on average you have to give for each question if you want to solve 8 questions. If you are only solving 3-4, then 30-40 minutes are enough. Okay, then what are the steps for this? Part C is a very different kind of strategy. First of all, you have to solve all the PYQs which is available, but not for all the subjects. Let me be very, very clear for part C. Complete your favorite syllabus only. So look at the part C syllabus and see that which syllabus is appealing to you, which you think, yeah, you can cover it. If you will try to cover entire part C syllabus, you need 1 to 2 years. Okay, yeah. If you can do on the basic levels, you can do the basic level. You can join some coaching. They will teach you some basic levels. That in part C, these questions have came so far. So we are teaching based on, every coaching works on the same principle. Okay. So what is the principle behind any coaching? So the principle behind any coaching is that previous years are being analyzed, and then whatever has came so far, that has been taught in the classes. That's a basic principle. What is the principle of CSIR NET? In part C, they will repeat 20 to 30%, which have already been asked. So out of 30 questions, 5 to 6 questions will be which are already been asked some time before, and rest 20 questions or 25 questions will be new. So when the questions are coming new and you are not prepared for that, then all you need is that you have prepared some topics of the part C in depth. You have actually studied something which have never came in PYQ, still you studied that. You went little bit ahead of your syllabus. You studied few chapters of the book just to study that, not to give any exam, but you went in a depth of that syllabus. So you cannot go in depth of each and every part. You can study basics of each and everything that is required. So if you join any, you do the basics. But other than that, you also have to do some chapters in depth. So go in depth of only those chapters which you like. 30-40% syllabus, you go in depth. For example, you like electromagnetism, so go in depth of electromagnetism, whatever chapters are there. Okay, And in this, basic books will not help you. Advanced books will require. For example, YK Lim book is there, right? Other different books are there, which are little bit advanced books. I am going to talk about the books right now, but they are little advanced books. So advanced books are required. Okay, or at least the advanced chapters of the books are required. Many books have first fundamental chapters and then advanced chapters. So you need advanced chapters of this. And then good quality assignments. You have to practice yourself that, okay, I'm studying, I covered this topic, but if a new question comes on this chapter, what is going to happen? Can I solve that question or not? So can you do book questions? Okay. And then regular tests. That if you give a regular test, you have to practice that when the 30 questions are coming, are you able to find out 8 questions and do those 8 questions? Okay. So that is a kind of practice you need. So part B was each and every line should be done very nicely. Part C is doing 30 to 40% in depth and entire syllabus basic. That is the difference in part B and part C. Okay. So part C will actually decide that what is your expertise. So if you are able to solve part C questions of electromagnetism, which are completely new, then you can say that, okay, I am very good in electromagnetism. If you are able to do in nuclear and particle physics, then you can say I'm very good in nuclear and particle. So that is basically your specialization in physics, that in which thing you are specialized in, right? So you have to pick your specialization. Okay. So let's talk about the syllabus of part C. So part C has again mathematical physics, but now the syllabus of mathematical is Green's function, partial differentiation, numerical methods, tensor, and group theory. So 2 books are there. One is Arfkan and one is SS Shastri. Other than that, I will say physics bar and live classes. So in my course, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to teach entire part C in live classes. No recording, live. So in live classes, what I will do is each and every topic will be discussed for 2-3 days in detail, and we will try to go, and I will also give the book readings. Okay, so this much I have taught. Now read the book. Now let's go in detail, because this is a new experiment I'm going to do. I don't know how much this will work. You decide. Okay, but what I'm going to do is that PYQs is enough. Okay, fine. But now if we are studying, let's say, numerical methods, so we will read, I will cover in live class, and then I will also give you book reading. That, okay, understand about the errors in Newton's method. What is an error in Newton, right? How do we calculate that? And then we discuss in next live class. So live classes for entire part C syllabus. Okay, so that will help you actually a lot. Okay, because we both will be learning from each other, because many students in our batches are 25, 26. They have more experience than me, definitely. They have done master's degree, they have studied 2-3 times CSIR NET syllabus. So even sometimes I also learn from them, because for 1 or 2 topics they are very good. For entire syllabus they might not be good, but for some topics they are very good. So in my live classes I also learn from the students, right? I have many good students. They learn, they even teach me, so there is no shame in that. But live classes helps. Then second is classical mechanics. In classical mechanics, syllabus is 4 things basically. Stability analysis. They will give you some potential and they will ask you that, is your particle stable, unstable? Is it in equilibrium? Is it in non-equilibrium? What is it? Then Poisson brackets, canonical transformation, symmetries. That what kind of symmetry is there? Space symmetry is there, time symmetry is there. So again, two things, JC Upadhyay and physics bar and live classes. Okay, so in live we will talk about all these things. Then third, electromagnetism. This is something very, again, electromagnetism in part C is also very heavy. So this contains plasma. So there is some dispersion relations in plasma. If someone has taken elective plasma physics, then they know that this is a very long equations. But you need dispersion relations from that, and how to find the dispersion velocity, group velocity, all of those things. Then relativistic electromagnetism, right? So how electric field change in relativity, magnetic field change in relativity, what things does not change in relativity, transmission lines, waveguides, and radiations. So the book for this is in engineering electrodynamics. So if you search a book named as engineering electrodynamics, you will get a one book. So in that book, these topics are given very nicely. Okay, DJ Griffiths I do not prefer for this, because DJ Griffiths talk in journal all over. Although electrodynamics, engineering electrodynamics book talk in the terms we need, in terms of the formulas, in terms of what the discussion on the formulas, in terms of the application of those formulas in the real life world, right? So engineering electrodynamics is very good book for this thing. And then again, live classes. Okay. So I will be using this book in my live classes. Okay. Then in quantum mechanics, I will be discussing WKB approximation, spin orbit coupling, and fine structure. We will do entire derivation of this. Although this is very, very painful derivation, but we will do this because this is very, I have seen 2-3 questions coming again and again. And they are asking the question from the derivation part. They are not asking the question from the formula based. So the person who knows how to derive only can solve that problem. Okay. So that is the one thing. Then scattering theory. In scattering theory, if you see this year question, only that person was able to solve that question who has actually know the derivation of scattering theory. Who have only know the formula can solve the question in part B, but not in part C. So they ask the question from the very fundamental of part scattering theory and from the very basic formula, but the formula comes from a derivation. Again, Born approximation. This is relatively easy topic. If you know the formula, you can solve it. And then relativistic quantum mechanics, which can be avoided because more or less questions are not coming. Or even if the question is coming, it's very scattered. You cannot study entire relativistic quantum mechanics because that's an entire new book. So I would say only four topics for here: WKB, spin orbit coupling, scattering theory, and Born approximation. Okay. So books for this is same. Griffiths and Jetley are the books. You don't have to go for any other book because both these books cover these two topics very nicely. And then also we will talk in the live class. Okay. So then comes the thermodynamic and stat mech. So this phase transition topic, which you can see on the top, is already covered in the statistical mechanics. Diamagnetism and paramagnetism will get covered in solid state physics. What you have to do is Ising model, random walk problem, and diffusion equation. So this is very nicely written in BB Lord, all these 3 chapters. And then in live classes also we will discuss. Okay, fine. Then comes electronics. In electronics, curve fitting. This already done in part B. You don't have to do it again. Then transducers, Fourier analysis, and lock-in. Maximum questions are coming from Fourier analysis. Then from the transducers, but transducers are easy thing. Okay, if you use the logic, you can do question without having the knowledge of transducers. The book I will be using in my live classes is actually, I have found this book after a lot of efforts, and I was able to go to this book because of my UPSC geophysics. So when I was studying UPSC geophysics examination, I came across the Fourier analysis part. So yesterday itself, I was looking at that book and I saw that questions are matching of CSIR NET level. So in my live classes this time, I will be using this book. I have not used this book this year, but I will use this book now, which is Signals and Systems by Rishabh Anand. Very beautiful book. Its PDF is not available. You have to buy it in a hard copy. So its PDF is very rarely available, and even if it's available, not a good quality print. So this book is very useful for this topic. Basically, Fourier analysis, signals and systems, and questions have been asked from these topics. Then comes our 3 chapters, which were not 3 subjects, which were not in part B. Number 1 is atomic physics, atomic and molecular physics, which contains Bohr model, vector model, fine structure and hyperfine structures, LS and JJ coupling, Zeeman-Paschen and Stark effect, ESR, NMR, EPR, helium spectrum, spectroscopic notation, dipole transition, rotational vibration, electronic spectrum, Raman spectrum, and lasers. I was not able to record the classes for this, all the classes for this year course, but this time I'm going to cover it in live class on the priority basis. That okay, let's cover atomic and molecular, and we will cover it from the Rajkumar. Okay. So Rajkumar is a very standard book for this. Once anyone knows Rajkumar, once you cover the Rajkumar, then you know that okay, how to think in atomic molecular physics terms. Okay. So the Rajkumar is a very one and only enough book for atomic. Never study any other book for any competitive exam for atomic. He's my favorite author. He just wrote one book and that was enough. Wow, that's a fantastic idea. You can qualify all the exams. You can study all the MSc, BSc based on that. One book satisfy everything. He's my favorite author. Okay. So then comes condensed matter physics, which is also known as solid state physics. This contains crystallography, reciprocal lattice and XRD, bonding in solids, thermal properties, all the models, Einstein model, Drude model, everything. Then electronics property. Electronic property involve band theory, Hall effect. Then comes magnetic property, superconductor, and in the end is defects. There are different kind of defects. So there are two books for this. One is SOPLI. SOPLI book cannot be ignored. The reason being because many advanced questions are given in this book which are asked in PYQs. And Puri and Babbar. Puri and Babbar is cannot be avoided because even though the questions are not coming from this book, but this book is very important for basic understanding. If you have basic understanding, only then you can go for advanced level. Okay, so I will be using both these books for my live classes, even though the many lectures are already been recorded for this, but I will again be doing this entire rerun of this in live classes. Okay, then comes the last subject, which is nuclear and particle. So nuclear and particle basically have nuclear properties, binding energy, radius, magnetic moments, angular momentum, spin, all of those things. And then if you go on with the nuclear models, there are many models. Some models are only there in your CSIR NET syllabus. For example, rotational model. That is not there in GATE or anything else. So shell model, rotation model, liquid drop model, all these models which are required for nucleus. I have made the notes from H.C. Verma sir's lectures. So I will be discussing those notes. That what are all the points from H.C. Verma sir's lectures which is required for these topics. Okay, so sir has covered that topic very nicely. Because you know H.C. Verma sir is like our mentor for all of us. So I have they have explained that I have notes for all of that. So I will be covering those notes in the lectures. Then nuclear forces and neutron problem. So this I have read from the Crane, and Crane has covered this topic very nicely, right? Then radioactivity basics, right? Alpha, beta, gamma decay basics, scattering basics. Again, Crane book has to be referred for scattering. Nuclear reactions, again, I will mention the book, and then particle physics. So basically, you just need to do Mittal and Verma book and KS Crane book. These are the two books. Other than that, I would say both these books are not enough for nuclear and particle because questions are coming much higher level. So we will be going to the derivations of this and we will be covering in live classes for that. But nuclear and particle is something which on which the questions coming are very hard. So sometimes I feel that efforts put in nuclear and particle physics usually go wasted in NET exam because out of 3 questions, you are only able to solve 1 at max. But still, 1 question gives you 5 marks. So that's very good marks for you. Okay. So these are the 9 subjects of part C syllabus. So what you need to make sure while you are preparing, that what they want from the student. First of all, they want that someone who has basics to advanced level of knowledge in physics. If I give you class 11th topic, and if I give you MSc level topic, can you talk about those topic at least? Even if you're not able to solve question, but can you talk about that? Holistic coverage of syllabus. That has the student actually done all the PYQs? Has the student bothered to solve the PYQs and come up with the syllabus coverage? Or is this solution taking, if this student taking our examination lightly? So if you're taking lightly, then you will fail. But if you are bothered to cover the syllabus, then you will have much good advantage in the exam. Then problem solving skills. That is this student able to solve the problems based on the knowledge that this student have? Depth of understanding. Do you only know the formulas or do you also know the origin of those formulas or the analysis of those formulas or the derivation steps of those formulas? Recalling of the formulas. There are many formulas. Do you recall all of them in an exam? Do you know what are the Fourier transform properties today? Do you know Laplace transform properties today? If you remember all the properties today, before that, today means the exam day, then that is very important. Then pressure handling. They are going to give you many hard questions. How do you handle that pressure? When the hard questions are coming in front of you from your favorite topic and you are not able to solve that, how do you handle that pressure? Right? Right decision making about the questions. Can the student make the right decision making? That okay, if the question is coming, I need to do this question or I need to leave this question. Systematic approach to solve the problems. How do you start your problem? How do you make your problem move forward? So what are your steps? What is your approach for the question? Is this a systematic approach or is it a random approach? Okay, chaotic approach. So systematic approach is required. Connections between the concepts. So if two concepts are being used in solid state also and statistical mechanics also, do you have connections between them? Do you actually understand? Or can you look at the options and say, okay, if entropy can be this, then it means free energy cannot be this. It means, is there connection? Do you have your mind have a connection between entropy and free energy? So connections between the concepts, not just doing the concepts at individual level, but also connecting them together. That if entropy is positive, what will be my free energy? It means if option B is, I think, is correct, then it has to be wrong. Okay, so these kind of connections. Okay, then this I already mentioned to you. So any questions still here?
Please,
Okay, so now I have one challenge for you. If you dare, so now there are two CSIR NET coming exams. One is June 2024 and one is December. Okay. So first entire focus is on June 24, and if the student is preparing for December 24, that works for himself, that person as well. So if you dare, do you dare? First of all, I have one challenge for you, and if you complete this challenge, you will definitely be closer to the exam. And that challenge is, if you dare for that challenge, and that challenge is 120 days, 4 months. Right now, assume that we are at 30 marks. And in order to be at 150 marks, we need to add 120 marks to our portfolio. And in order to add 120 marks, we only have 120 days. So basically, we have to increase 1 mark on a daily basis. On average. On average, we have to add 1 mark on our daily basis. That should be our 4 months challenge. That does not seem very scared, very difficult, but it is. Because in order to add 1 mark on our daily portfolio, we need to work every single day. I usually do not recommend students that you work a few days and then you are not working, then you are working few days. In that way, the continuity is broken. So if you can maintain the continuity for 120 days, and that's a challenge. Can you maintain the continuity for 120 days? Continuous continuity. Okay. And then if that continuity is maintained, you will be able to add 120 marks to your portfolio. At least prepare for 120 marks, some plus minus negative marking. 150 marks will reduce, but it will never reduce to below 100. So at least your preparation should be for 150 marks. And if the paper is hard or whatever, at least you end up doing 100 marks. End up doing at least. So in 120 days, 120 marks increasing is the challenge. Okay. And by looking at this goal only, I have designed the course. But I'm going to talk about the course now. If someone is not willing to hear that, you can leave the session right now. But now I'm going to talk about that, keeping this goal in mind. What was my goal for this time? Because I continuously take feedback from that what student was not happy about this course this time. Okay, they were not happy that, okay, sir, lectures were there, but not constant live feedback was not there. So every time I try to improve my course, that what can I do based on whatever time we have. So now we have 4 months. So in 4 months, what we can do is first 5 days we will spend on foundation physics. In this foundation physics, I'm going to talk about the MSc level foundation, like Dirac delta, spherical and cylindrical polar coordinate systems, basic mechanics, Newton mechanics, rotational motion, basic electronics, KCL, KVL, RC circuit, LC circuits, and then we come across different sort of integrations, right? All kind of functions that you need to know, all the things that can come up in your syllabus, and you should be able to know that how to expand the function, what is binomial theorem, right? Because all these small things actually comes in a syllabus. So if you are a new doing preparation or you need a revision, first 5 days will go to the foundations. That let's do the foundation. In this foundation physics, some lectures are recorded. 2-3 days I will take the live classes, and then I will give you that, okay, these are also the things that are needed. Then second thing comes that God of part B. As I already said, that you have to be, each and every part has to be. It's like you created the part B syllabus. God created the universe, like you created the part B syllabus. For part B syllabus, we will only spend 2 months, not more than that. So it's not like we are doing subject-wise preparation. We will be doing part B-wise syllabus, and we will be covering entire part B in 2 months. And is it easy? No. Any student who is not giving me on average 4 hours will lack in this course 110%. If you want to qualify with the exam like CSIR NET and you are asking any strategy in which you just have to study 1 or 2 hours a day, that is not going to work anytime. So on average, if you can give me 4 hours every day for 7 days a week, which means 30 hours a week, no one gives it. It's very easy to promise in the beginning, but when you actually enter it, there are very few students of my batch which I can mention that they are giving me 4 to 5 hours, right? So only 4 to 5 hours you have to give, but for 120 days you have to give. And if you are not going to MSc college, then I expect that at least give me 7 to 8 hours. Why you are not giving me 7 to 8 hours? Why you are not giving yourself 7 to 8 hours for preparation? Right? What is your excuse for that? Right? If you're going to college, and then I can accept that 4 hours, still you have to find out 4 hours. Students are not able to find 4 hours of their day, then how you are managing your day? Day management should look like this. Then when you wake up in the morning, you have an idea that I have college today, never miss the class, go to the college. No college remains open beyond 5 p.m. So your college is there till 5 p.m. Always remember that in college you have find yourself a time so that you complete your assignment in a college time. Keep your assignment with you always. So whenever there is some lecture which is not there, or some time you get a free time in between, complete your college assignments in college itself. So when you come back at 5 p.m., you should not have much homework from the college, right? Otherwise, you will just keep doing homework of college. 1 day or 2 days a week is still acceptable. That okay, 1 or 2 days you did the homework of college, but not more than that. And 1 or 2 days only then when you are doing a project. Other than that, nothing is acceptable. Then when you come home, just take a relax, 7, 8 p.m. Relax yourself. Sleep, take a nap, eat, go with the friends. If you are in a hostel, go to mess, eat food, do the chit chat. 7, 8, 9 p.m. take a rest. When you are ready at 9 p.m., after 9 or 10 p.m., sit down, study till 3 a.m. in the morning. Na? Or you can do the reverse. You can wake up early in the morning if you cannot wake up till late. So usually I used to sit around 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. And then I used to sleep at 4 a.m. And then 4 a.m. I used to then wake up at 7:30. So three to 4 hours of sleep in the night, and then 2 to 3 hours of sleep in the evening. That is the so I am basically breaking my day into two parts. First part of my day is completely college. Second part of the day is completely my CSIR NET and different sort of preparations. So the second part of the day should start with the sleep. So when you wake up from the sleep at 9 p.m., then you have your food, and then at 10 p.m. you sit down and study for 4 to 5 hours. Then nothing should come distract, because at this time your phone should be off, everything is off. Only thing that you have at this moment is just your CSIR NET preparation, right? So that much is required, 4 to 5 hours every day for 7 days a week on average. If you can do that, then yes, you can complete the syllabus in last 3 months. If you cannot do that, then there is no possible way you can qualify this exam for 100% surety. Yes, maybe you have a good MSc, then you might do it. Okay, I cannot. I'm no one to say that you cannot qualify, but I can say that on my experience, this much time is required if you want to do wonders. Okay, and if you're not going to college, then in the morning also this, and in the evening also this. 7 to 8 hours if you're not studying, then it's a crime against yourself itself. Okay, so don't do a crime against you. Then 40 days we will spend on part C, and this 40 days is not like continuous 40 days. These 40 days are spread in next 120 days. So in between your part B syllabus, I will be coming and taking the live classes, and I will be teaching this part C syllabus. So it's not like that first we will cover entire part B, then we will cover part C. So in between I'm coming in your part B syllabus, and I am also taking your doubts, and I am also giving you the part C syllabus. That okay. Enough with quantum mechanics. Let's do 1 or 2 topics of atomic physics in live class. So these 40 days are spread over next 120 days. Okay. So roughly 40 days you need for this. 60 days you need for your part B syllabus. And then last 15 days is just for revision. Just for revision means revise, revise, and revise. Each and every note has to be revised 3-4 times. Every question has to be revised 2-3 times. And then you go and give the exam. Okay. And this will happen only if 4 to 5 hours of effort is there on the daily basis. Other than that, it's impossible to achieve. Okay. And if you're preparing for December net, then you can say that, okay, you can do it in 2 to 3 hours. Okay. And if you have December time, then you can do, okay, if you are giving 2 to 3 hours on daily basis, then you can easily manage this course in till December. But for June, 4 5 hours is required. And I have gave you my strategy, how you are used to manage my time, but how much you are able to implement that, you have to make sure that. Okay. And there is an entire video I have taken, which is available on YouTube, in which I have talked about that how to manage your time with MSc and do all the things that you want to do. Okay. So in this challenge, every week, we are going to cover almost 14 marks, about 3 to 4 topics, so that at least you are sure that you are increasing 7 marks in your portfolio. So every week, if we cover 3 to 4 topics, and if I even assume that one question is coming from one topic, then almost 14 marks we are covering every week. So if I'm covering top 14 marks every week, roughly it is being made sure that you are increasing 7 marks in your portfolio. So our challenge is 1 mark every day has to be increased, okay, in your portfolio. So the course which is being designed, just the statistics of that. So contains 2 type of lectures. One is recorded lecture, one is live classes. Live classes are only for part C syllabus and for problem discussions. Whatever, if I want to discuss the problems, PYQs, all of those discussions, and for the part C syllabus. Lectures of part B are in the recorded form. Okay, so it is in the recorded form, and lectures are short lectures, not very long lectures, 30 to 40 minutes lectures, roughly in between this, completely in English. And if you are able to understand this session, you will be able to understand my lectures as well. So this is a language I speak in. I do not speak completely Hindi or even English. I do not add Hindi. The reason being because most of my students are from South India and they do not understand. Okay. So small lectures. There are roughly 250 recorded lectures, and you need to cover up these lectures. And I will be telling you that how to cover up this. It's not like I gave you 250 lectures and then I'm not telling you how to complete. Okay. Then this is something I'm adding new, that not just giving the content, but I also have to tell the students how to complete it. Otherwise, student lag behind. That's the biggest feedback I took from the last batch. Okay. Then course contains notes. So there is a notes. Along with these notes, I have book referencing. I have now, from this time, I'm starting the book reference also. That notes is enough. Read the notes. You have watched the lecture, but also read these parts of the book so that you also develop that understanding. So book reading will be added. Notes will be available for each topic. And these notes you can modify according to yourself as well. And I have modified these notes according to the basic requirements. I have made some changes now, that based on whatever is being changed in an examination, that what else has to be added in these notes. So these notes will be continuously changed with each question. If we find any new question and that information is not in the notes, we will modify this. Okay. And then for practice, this is where main thing is. For practice, I will give you 20 quiz questions for each topic. And this topic will be in terms of quiz. So there will be an assessment quiz, or you can say assignment quiz. In this assignment quiz, for every topic, you will have 20 questions, which will be mixed NAT, MCQ, and NAT. So these 3 kind of questions will be there in this, so that your holistic preparation is there. And then these quizzes will have like solutions as well. So those questions will also have solutions, and we will have the discussion of this in live classes. Okay. So completely solved questions are there. And this time there will be more live classes, because last time I was involved in recording the classes. But in this batch, I'm almost done with my recording of lectures. So live classes will be much more than last time, because now I don't have much lectures to record. Now I just have live sessions with you. So in that live sessions, what we will do is we will do problem solvings. We will do just like we did before GATE examination. So we did before GATE examination some live sessions. So these sessions will now increase even more. Okay. So those sessions will happen. In that sessions, we will cover discussions of problems, books, and also part C entire syllabus. Okay. And if we study any topic and we are not able to solve the PYQ of that, then we will even dig more, that from where they are bringing this question. We studied entire crane, still the problem is new. Then let's try to find out the source. So that kind of activities will happen. Okay. So test. So test is there. In test, this is very rigid test. Okay. So this time, what will happen is I will keep calling the students who are doing good in test. So if you are doing good in test, I will call you and we will have the plans together. These tests will be 3-hour tests. So when our subject is done, you will get the subject test. So this will be 3-hour full test. In this, it will start with general aptitude and then the entire subject. So there are 9 subjects, so 9 full subject tests. Completely solved test. This will be discussed in the class and ranks will be available for batch. So what is your rank in the batch? So there will be a competition, healthy competition we will have. Okay, and maybe we can even start with the some prize system for the batch. That if someone is getting first rank in a test, let's have some incentive for it. Okay, so monthly goal set. So progress tracking, that is the main part. Okay, that is what I'm trying to do now. So every month you are going to get a one email in the beginning of the month. So let's say you join the course today or next month, whenever. So every month you are going to get a mail in the beginning that this is your monthly goals, and that goals are not same for everyone. That is different for different students based on at what point that student joined. If that student joined on whatever month, 1 month, based on that, that student will get a monthly goals that this month you have to complete this much. Okay, and every month there will be 15 to 30 minutes of meeting with every student. So this meeting I will send you the link. So when you join the course, you will get a link of a calendar. So on that calendar, you will see my free spots. That in this spot, RN sir is free for lectures. Oh, sorry, meeting, live meeting. So you can book your spot there that I need the meeting with sir. Every month you can book one meeting. Okay, just give me a second. I need to put a chart. The purpose of these meetings is to make sure that I am not actually detached from the student. So students actually I should know that this student is at this level or facing these problems. So 15 minutes of meeting, because I have seen that this much is possible. In 30 days, you can easily handle 300, 400 students. That's not a problem. Okay, I can do that. So we will have live meetings. I will have every day 2 to 3 hours of slots, which you can book. Okay, so you can book that these 15 minutes are for me. So that will be live meeting with you. Every month, one meeting. Okay. Then there is a Telegram channel, which is almost available for everything. So you can actually be added in that Telegram channel and you can discuss with each other. You will not be able to do the bitching about myself because I will also be in that. Okay. That you can do in a personal messaging. Okay. But in that group, it will be doubt solving and discussions. Basic things we will do in that. So whenever you join, you get a personal kickstart plan. So when you join, you will receive an email that this is how you should begin this course. So every student gets a kickstart plan. So let's say you join late, you join after 1 month. So then your kickstart plan is different. You join right now, then your kickstart plan is different. So every student gets a kickstart plan when they join. Okay, and that is the idea. Other than that, what I want is that interview training. So every student who gets qualified the exam, they will be called for different interviews. So roughly I have myself given 30 interviews in ISIRS, iisc, TIFR, all of these places. So whenever the student qualifies an exam, I will take a common interview training sessions, and then I will take the mock interview of that student. If you are my student and if you qualify this examination, CSIR NET or any interview you get, one mock interview I will take. In that, I will judge you, your personality, and I will give you the, not personality, your physics knowledge also. And I will give you the advice that how you can better yourself in whatever time you have. Okay. And this is also for this batch also. If someone gets an interview call, you message. Okay. And then career orientation. In between, I am saying that whenever we are frustrated and we are seeing that what career possibilities are there, in between, I will keep taking on the sessions, live sessions, that how are IIT placements, how are finance jobs, how you can prepare for career in nanotechnology, what are our career prospects for astrophysics. Okay. And I will try to bring in my PhD friends who are in different institutes to talk about that. That if someone is doing astrophysics PhD, I will try to bring that student up because I have many friends who are working in different PhDs, and they will come and tell you that how it is actually like to be doing a PhD in astrophysics. that if someone is actually doing PhD in astrophysics, how it is like, right? So that things we will do in between. Okay, so you can take these courses on our website. Our courses are open now, and it is starting from 20th February. So from 20 Feb, this course is starting up, which is basically tomorrow. So from Tuesday, this course will begin, and foundation physics will begin. So on website www.physicsbyrn.com or app Physics by RN. Free preview is available. You can just see how lectures are, how the notes are. So app is there, website is there. If you want a very good experience, download the app. If you have laptop and you want laptop experience, go to the website www.physicsbyrn.com. Okay. Course fees, we have the minimum course fee. No one is providing course at this fees, as per as my knowledge, at least. CSIR NET, there are two courses. One is only CSIR NET, and this course involves both June and December. So if you take the course, it is covering you till December. Okay. The fees for this course is one time, which is 3,000 rupees roughly. And one course is GATE, NET, JEST, and TIFR, all four. So this will cover up to GATE, or sorry, JEST next year. So if you are preparing for NET as well as JEST and other exams, then you can look for this course. This can be paid in 2 installments as well. Okay. So for next 2 days, right? For next 2 days, then you have the code going on, which is WIN code. So if you apply WIN code, you get a discount of 500 rupees. But this is only valid till 20 Feb. I am going, there is an automatic stoppage of the code, and this code will stop automatically at 20th Feb, midnight. Okay. So if you want to use that code, you can use till 20 Feb. You will get a direct discount of 500. Okay. So this is about the basic ideas. Now I am completely open for your questions. Whatever questions anyone have, each and every single problem I can take now. Okay.